The following program may contain strong language and mature content. Viewer discretion is advised.
I can't deny the way you smell between your thighs. Those are the words.
She took a bath, huh?
Yes, I sang that under the anointing. Yes, I did. Yes, go listen to that song, Sex in the Rain, if you just want God to rain down a fresh anointing on your life. That is that's a song just to let God rain all over your nakedness.
Yes.
Don't you want him to rain on your nakedness? Let me quit before they cancel this. I want him to rain on my nakedness today. How you doing, Manaal?
Oh man, I'm doing so good. Like spirits are high. I'm focused. Like, you know, when you really get to the point where you got a lot of can I say fuck it in your system? You got a lot of fuck it in your system.
Yes, yes.
That's definitely where I'm at with life right now. Like literally, If it's not my shit, I don't give a damn. That's where I'm at. And it's so peaceful.
You know what? That is one of the best places to be in life. And I believe he will do it if we let him. He'll get us to that place. I had a real surreal moment this week. And I had to check. You ever think you were over something only to find out you really weren't?
Oh, all the time. All the time.
Mm-hmm. So there's a space in my life I wish I could forget. And I oftentimes do a really good job of ignoring it. I know it's not healthy. And for the record, no, I'm not talking about my marriage. It's the space in my childhood I really wish I could just forget. There's a lot that went on. I don't even want to get into it. But I do a good job of forgetting it and moving on. This week, someone sent me a video of me singing during this.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, oh my God, you just, this. And it brought them really good memories, but it stirred up a lot of unresolved pain. And I ended up crying. And I was like, you know what? I told them thank you. But this season, I had to be transparent with them because they just wanted to go on and on about it. And I was like, this season was really a painful one for me. So
yeah,
I'm going to exit this conversation. But let me tell you what this Henri bitch did. They sent me another clip. I said, you
it be the church people.
Yes. I said, this isn't helping any. Like, but some people think if you don't face it, like right now, right this second, you'll never conquer it. And I have faced it in spurts, but it just really, really, I don't know if you've ever been like time warped back to a moment.
Oh, for sure.
And I didn't like it there. And I fought that night. And in that morning, I felt better. And I was like, you know what? Eventually, I do need to get therapy and deal with everything that happened. But as for now, I just like the peace I have right now.
Yeah. I love that you said that too. Like, I have this rule that I made for myself when I did start going to therapy. It was so good. And the image that came to my mind is that, like, my mind, my body, my soul, my spirit, that's my house. And I have the responsibility of opening and closing the shades and doors as I see fit.
Right.
And so if I want to let certain things in, then I can. If I don't, I'm closing everything up. And
right.
in little by little as I desire and as I'm ready to work. And there was something that did come up this week for me as well, and I had to face it. I had to deal with it. I finally said some things out loud.
Okay.
I think for us growing up in the church, it was so important for us to handle everything at church. Lay it on the altar.
Right.
There. And it was all of these messages, but at what point are we going to learn how to work through the things? Right?
Exactly.
And so the reality is that we're so disciplined to praise and worship, pray, but not work through.
Oh, it's a mess, right?
Yeah, like at this stage of life, we're learning how to work through the things, and how to give voice to things that were harmful, that were painful, that were hard, and then also learning how to pull in that pool of support. So like with me and my son, we had a very hard road that we lived for those 10 years of me being off and on as a single mom, and so many different challenges, and most of it I didn't discuss with anybody. And so now when I'm working on being in a relationship with someone, that's totally different than just dating, right? In a relationship, there's more questions. Right, there's more curiosities, right, and they digging, you digging, they digging. That's how it should go. And so we just hit one of those hard points today, where I had to go all the way back in my mind and say, you know what, this has been a challenge ever since that shift into single motherhood. You know, and I had to cry it out, I had to talk it through, I had to let it out. But it was so you feel very vulnerable.
Right.
But you also feel free on the other side of that. And that goes into this work that we're doing right now, you know, with people and couples and bring people together. You got to come together honestly and authentically and bring your whole self. And if you're not ready to do that, you probably just need to stay on the shallow end of the pool.
Absolutely. Woo! Absolutely. Girl, I just love when you talk. I need to put you in my pocket and hook you up to my headphones and take you with me. All right. Tonight we're here to talk about dating with confidence. And so even though I have not gotten a complete resolve with everything that I've been through in my life, I am thankful that I went through it, because I think it made me a better person.
Yeah.
For some people, a lot of people see me and they see a bunch of confidence, but they don't know all of the shit show that I had to survive to get to this point. And it made me confident enough to where I can talk about my sex life in public, confident enough to where I went from being known as heterosexual to now, you know, I'm known as the big gay dude, like that big gay dude. Now he know he need to sit his big gay ass down. It's some of the things that I've heard. But I'm still confident out here. Confident enough, you know, to approach someone that I may find interest in and not be intimidated, because on the beauty scale, you know, they have those. I might be a 5 and they might be an 8. I'm not, you know, I'm still confident enough. And I think this is because of these things that we're getting ready to talk about. And the first thing I wanted to speak about today was being self-aware versus being self-conscious. Self-conscious versus being self-aware. Now, Manaal, these are two terms that I'm very familiar with. Now, I'm very familiar with the self-conscious portion because that's how they broke me into ministry. You can't be self-conscious. You got to get up and you got to render unto God what's due unto God. That's how they broke me into that. So, you know, I used to be self-conscious about my size, self-conscious about certain colors,
Yeah.
self-conscious about me singing certain songs. And they broke me in, buddy. You know, you got the like you say, you leave that self-consciousness on the altar, boo. But I wasn't self-conscious, but I also was not self-aware.
Yes.
Okay. And I think people think that when they free themselves from being self-conscious, that automatically means that they're self-aware, but that's not the case. If
Absolutely.
you could, can you just give us a Manaal, a minute with Manaal? Can you just, in a minute or two, just break down the difference between being self-conscious and being self-aware?
Yeah. So, and this is so good too. So, consciousness is about being present.
Mm-hmm.
You have a body, you have a mind, you have a soul, you have a spirit. You exist in space.
Right.
That's consciousness. But when you are self-aware, you are recognizing all the details of those things, and also how they work together and how you affect you, your places, your people, and your things. So you can be conscious. You're alive. You're born. You are in this earth plane. But are you aware? Can you recognize your persons, places, peoples, and things, and yourself? Those are two different degrees of I will say awareness. Those are two different degrees.
Right, right. And to be conscious sometimes means that you are, like you said, you are alert to how certain things may affect other people. So you're conscious of your speech, you're conscious about your demeanor, but it doesn't mean that you're always aware of how things affect you. One of the hardest questions I got asked as an adult is, Walter, what do you want to do with your life? This was after I closed my church. After I closed the church, because when I was pastoring, I was going to serve the Lord until until kingdom come.
Finding that good old Lord's arm.
Right. God can't use no coward soldiers. Sit your bitch ass down. That was the song. But but when I freed myself and I began to walk in my truth, my uniqueness, a person I was entertaining the thought of dating. I was not dating them because remember for a long time I was like, you know what? Fuck love. They just asked me, well, what do you want out of life? And Manaal, that sent me down a whole rabbit hole because I didn't know. I was so not aware what I even like to do outside because I had been so, you know, and I don't want this to be a church bashing session. I was just raised that this is what you like.
Absolutely.
This is what you do. This is how you pass time. You know, it was nothing for me to sit up and if we were bored, it was nothing for me to just sit up and say, oh God, I bless your name, Jesus. Oh Lord, I love you. And then everybody around me end up in a whole praise break. And we think that was a hobby. That was, you know.
That was life.
Right.
7 days.
Right. But then you start realizing you're missing out on life. You're underdeveloped in certain areas.
Yes.
And so you are self-conscious, but you are not self-aware. You know, you're not aware a lot of times of the atmospheres that you enter and how ill prepared you are to deal with them. You know, you're not aware how dope this person is in front of you outside of the fact that you all disagree on something so minute. But because in your world, you have allowed people to gas you up to think this thing is so ginormous, you about to let this dope person walk out of your life, one that could actually be a balm for your healing.
Yeah.
You're going to let them walk out of your life because you're self-conscious, but you're not self-aware, right? Yeah. This will cause you to keep friends in your life that are actually enemies. You know, I had this whole talk. So my best friend is a real friend. And I have some other friends that are not. So my best friend, if the doctor told me today I had high blood pressure, he would literally probably come to where I stay and remove everything out of my house that is hypertension friendly, right? He's the friend that if you're on a weight loss journey, when you lose 5 pounds, we're not going to celebrate with cake and ice cream. We're going to take a hike. That's how we're going to celebrate. Because he says, okay, this is your goal. I'm going to work with you to your goal, right?
Absolutely.
Enemies disguise their friends. Will say, oh, girl, the doctor said that you had diabetes, but we buying that in the name of Jesus. Here's some of this pie, girl. Eat some of this sugar-free pie. Ooh, you lost 5 pounds. Let's go out to a buffet and celebrate. You get what I'm trying to say, right? Self-consciousness causes you to keep things a certain way, but self-awareness will cause you to position yourself for growth, development, and healing.
Yeah, I like to say it like consciousness is being.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no requirements for just being.
Right.
There's no requirements for showing up. There's no requirements for you just being you.
Okay.
But when you move into awareness, that's the action.
Okay.
That's when intentionality comes into play. That's when maturity comes into play.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. Yes. So that is one thing. If you're going to date with confidence, be out here in these streets with confidence, you definitely want to be aware of who you are, not just conscious about who you are, but you would definitely want to be aware. You want to be a force out here in these streets, right? And the only way to do that is to be completely aware. Now, number 2, I chose that you need to learn to accept your standard of beauty. Manaal, so many times, so many people want to change things about themselves that are kind of like a God thing, they are innate. I have seen thick people want to be skinny. We all see skinny people want thick attributes. Like, that's why they're getting all this ass injected and these titties and these big lips. Like, it's like, girl, just go eat a hamburger and cut it out. Like, you might fill out if you go have a full meal.
They probably won't, but there's purpose for your body too.
Right. I love it. I love it. There's someone for everyone.
Yes. Someone wants to hug you. It's okay.
You have to accept and set your own standard of beauty. So I have 3 people here that I want to discuss that have set their own standard of beauty and have influenced many others to do the same thing. Kwame, do you have that first picture?
Walter, I think it's also important to understand, like,
Absolutely.
accepting your own standard of beauty for yourself, right? Like how you show and recognizing that you are beautiful.
Absolutely.
Just being who you are.
Absolutely.
Or you may not be the most beautiful person to everybody.
Agreed.
Somebody gonna like it or love it. But then the other side of that is accepting your standard of beauty for what you are attracted to. I think that's also important, Absolutely. Because if you are now, because we gotta be truthful, right? You can have a group of friends and all of y'all vary on the beauty scale, if you will, right? So you got some of your friends, they 7, some of them 8, some of them 5, some of them are 2s.
Right.
We can't be gassing up the one who's a 2 like she should get a 10. No. Whoever is attracted to you based off of you being a 2 is okay. You are beautiful where you are. So, but that goes to, again, being aware. I know when me and my girl got together, she was like, your body is beautiful. Okay, now wait, thank you, I appreciate that, but I'm gonna get these crunches in, and then you really gonna see how beautiful my body can be,
Yes, go.
So that's me being aware, right? That's me having my personal goals. appreciative that you are attracted to me. Please enjoy every bit of me. But you're going to enjoy me a lot better after I get this cardio in and I do these crunches. I promise.
Right.
You know, and that's me being forthcoming with me. Right. And so
Right.
when you're out and you're dating, being honest and with who you are, where you are, what you like, and the things that you like about yourself and you don't like about yourself, those things come into play as well. Because at the end of the day, your confidence comes from you being truthful, transparent, and realistic. That's where your confidence comes in at.
Truthful, transparent, and what?
Realistic.
Realistic. I love it. I love it. I have to meet people here that kind of set their own standard of beauty. Can I have the first one, Kwame?
Look at her.
Kelly Price. She fine.
Mm.
She fine. You know?
She clapped.
Yeah, yes. So I like Kelly Price. I don't necessarily like her personality as of late, and that's the thing about social media. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. I love the fact that I don't know how heavy she was, but I remember Kelly back when she was riding in that car crying because that girl slept with her man.
Yeah.
Because that bitch slept with her man. And we was ready to go roll on that hoe. But anyway, I liked Kelly even then. It was the confidence factor for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the confidence factor for me. It was the unexpected beauty. It was the I'm big, but I'm still gonna fix up and I'm still gonna get out here and give you your whole life deal. Now, for me, she's still beautiful. She's beautiful now, but to me, she was the perfect size in As We Lay, the music video.
Yeah.
For me, that was perfect Kelly Price size. You know, not that she's not beautiful now, but that's when I thought she was most attractive. But she really set a standard for, I don't want to just say BBW, but I want to say, you know, big, beautiful black women. You know, I guess so BBBW.
You better say your alphabet.
Oh, yes. BBBBBBBBBW. But she set a standard of beauty. Now, this I saw a shift in a lot of the girls that I grew up with when she was out. The bigger girls, their confidence went through the roof as it pertains to themselves. And if you're going to date with confidence, I think that it is really important that you are okay with how you show up.
Yeah, and I think also too, again, being realistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you are a big girl and you decide to wear a belly shirt, you walked out the door wearing a belly shirt with your belly out.
Right.
Okay. So you made that choice. You bought that outfit, you put it on, you walked out the door in it. Embrace that. Now you can't get mad with somebody that you come across doesn't like it. You cannot get upset when someone that you come across doesn't want your number.
Okay.
Right? And so, again, even when you set your own standard of beauty, which you should, embrace your person.
Absolutely.
Be realistic as to who and what and when you are going to be attractive or attracting someone. Because when you are out there and you are trying to date and you are displaying this confidence, everybody may not be attracted to it, but you will find your person. Just be you.
Absolutely. And you'll learn spaces where you can exist freely in who you are, right? And I'm always a proponent of, if they don't want you there, don't go.
Yeah.
If that's their space and they don't want you there, then don't go.
But that's where that transition, right? So we're talking about consciousness and awareness. That space of consciousness, that part of being is just that exploration phase. That's you going to different clubs. That's you going to different events.
Right.
Just being, filling it out, putting on all these different outfits and see what works best for you. That's
Right.
the phase, right? That's building up that confidence. That's building to that space of now where you are aware. You know how you want to dress. You know how you want to show up. You know where you want to go. You know who you want to hang out with. And you know who you're wanting to attract.
Absolutely. Next photo, please. That was a lot. Yes.
Hey, girl.
Lupita, how do you say her last name?
Nyong'o.
Nyong'o. Now, I chose her. Physically, her body is on point. But historically, Hollywood culture in general have not favored darker skinned women.
Mm-hmm.
But this woman, I love her. I just love her. But she'll get up here in some blonde hair. She'll get out here in some red hair, purple, and kill. Like, I'm not talking about you looking like that. Why she put that on? Now that she know damn well that, but no, like she will kill and give you your whole existence, as it relates to beauty. And I think that she has set this standard for herself. And again, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Like, I haven't seen her getting into arguments. I used to help with a youth group. I still help with a young men's group, but I used to help with a youth group. And we put a picture of her up and we put a picture of another supermodel up. And we let them know that she was a supermodel. These young Black men were so trained to think the European standard of beauty was it. They argued us down and said that she was not no damn model. Like, she ain't no damn model. That she is not on the same level. I think we had picked like an old picture of Cindy Crawford or something. And it was just crazy to see how media kind of has influenced the standard of beauty, even in our mind as Black men. It's hard to be you while living in a superficial society. Absolutely.
You know, and that's where, like, so one of the beautiful things about Lupita, again, we always got to go sometimes back to the beginning. He's from the United States.
Okay.
Right? So culturally, she was immersed in a whole different standard of beauty, right?
Right.
I want to say she's Nigerian, but I believe she's Nigerian. Don't quote me on that. But she is totally immersed in her culture, her people, her lens. And so she moves through the world with that level of confidence because she has a stronger foundation.
I love it.
She looks in the mirror, she sees herself, she sees her grandmother, she sees her aunt, she sees the people she grew up with in the village. She has a different way of looking at the world. And so what's really important when you're moving through the world, especially with that, when we're talking about confidence, is getting to the point where you recognize where you got all of these ideas about what is or isn't beautiful. Got to go back to that foundation. And so that goes back to you being aware, right? Being self-aware. Yeah. Who planted these seeds in me, and what am I going to do with them? Am I going to pull them up like some weeds because they don't serve me in how I want to move through the world, or I'm going to continue to water the ones that are healthy so that way I can grow that confidence and develop that confidence that was in me, right, no matter what the rest of the world has to say.
Right. And so I love everything that you're saying. I love this. And I love that she is becoming a symbol of beauty for the next generation. Hopefully we can break up some of this self-hate that exists in the Black community. Our next person, can we show the next photo? But then we got to take a commercial break. I want you all to see this next individual who I picked for their standard of beauty. And then we're going to take a break. We're going to take a commercial break and come back and discuss this standard of beauty, because I want to discuss this for several reasons, and I'll share that when we return. Go ahead and take us away, Kwame.
That music was
Yes.
different.
I know. And I don't know. I gotta get into Kwame's playlist there because sometimes it makes me want to do one of these.
For sure.
Other times it makes me want to do one of these. When you throw that up in the air and drop. you know. I ain't always been saved. Thank you, Jesus. All right, but before we left, we were talking about the standard of beauty set by none other than Questlove.
Hey, Quest.
This one was crazy for me. When I was younger, a lot of people used to tell me I looked like Questlove. I don't get that much anymore.
You could be a cousin. You could for sure be a cousin. I think
I could be a cousin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't see it, but I definitely do see it. Okay? Him, and then they used to tell me I look like Bone Crusher. I ain't never scared.
That's one of my morning songs on my playlist.
Really?
For real.
So you see me outside the club and you think I'm a bug.
Mm-hmm. It come right after like Clark Sisters, right after. I gotta go through all of it. I gotta go through the whole thing. I gotta drop it. I gotta pop the trunk. I gotta raise my hands, and then we ready for the day.
I love it. My morning playlist has WAP in it, so I can't talk. I just want everybody to know I've been certified as a freak. 7 days a week. All right. But Questlove, people used to tell me I look like Questlove, and it didn't help that I used to play the drums. So it didn't help that I would have this mini fro with this pick in my head, and I called myself playing the drums. It was
Walter, why did I not know you played the drums?
Because I got up off them mugs. I got off them mugs real quick, and I never played at guest churches because I grew up in a Kojic church. And then people can shout for 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And that was against my whole religion. I feel like that's in the Bible somewhere. Thou shalt sit thy ass down after a good 10-minute praise break. I think that's in Second Chronication and a Henny and a Fifth.
Kojic church is like 10-minute message and maybe 5 hours of shouting.
My God, I used to be like, there's not that much Holy Ghost in the world. Come on, sit down.
It's a lot. The Holy Ghost moves a lot.
Right.
Specifically in the Kojic church.
Right.
Different kind of spirit, apparently.
Right. So anytime we would visit churches or anything, I would not play the drums. I would be the guy over there in the musician section talking to the drummer like, can you play for our choir? Our drummer didn't show up. Our drummer didn't show up. And then they would be like, after they found out I played, they would be like, why didn't you just play the drums? I didn't want to play the drums. Like,
I sing. Primary instrument, my voice.
So the thing was, I could sing lead, and play the drums. So it would be weird. But anyway, it would be really weird.
Now I need you to do this, though.
Girl, I ain't did it. I ain't did it in so long. I sat down and tried to play the drums and got out of breath. You would have thought I just walked up a flight of stairs. I was like, my chops was late. Timing was all over the place. Like I couldn't keep up with the click. I said, the blood. You don't use it, you will lose it. But Questlove, he has set his own standard of beauty. And even though he's a guy, we're going to call it beauty. I know some people will be like, it's handsomeness. What do they call it for dudes?
I don't listen to them people. I say what I want to say.
Okay, so we're going to call it beauty. And to me, he has actually started to look better with age.
Yes, he has definitely looked better with age. I agree with that. So
I've seen him on a podcast recently. He was interviewing Millie Jackson. And I was like, okay, you could have gotten it back in the day, but you would have to take it now. Like it wouldn't be an option. Like you would definitely have to take it now. Like,
I just think we like older men.
I'm starting to. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, something about that seasoning.
The seasoning. The seasoning that the Lord have put on you. So I picked these pictures, all three of them, just to show that So each of these individuals are not what we would consider beautiful according to European standard. Questlove does not have the chiseled body.
And he wears a fro all the time.
Right. Well, now he got it back in, I think, locks.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think he has locks now. But they're not, it's not the standard, you know, he doesn't look like a Tom Cruise or even a Idris Elba, you know. But there's definitely something there that, you know, he has and he uses. And I think that if you're going to be out here in these streets, you're going to have to learn how to use what works for you.
And you know, I think with Questlove, I think one, okay, so we got time frame in which he was brought up in. He's so pro-black, right? So pro-black. But then the other part of that is he has a skill. He has a talent. He has allowed himself to develop something in such a way that he is of high demand. And so even that boosts your confidence, right? So even if he looked in the mirror every day and was like, I don't like the way I look, but I have these people in my inbox, I got these people on my phone, and they are needing something that only I can provide for them.
Right.
So also understand like where our confidence is rooted in, right? We have some people, their confidence is rooted in their appearance. But we have someone like Questlove whose confidence is rooted in the service that he can provide, is rooted in the talent that he has fostered, right? And it's not just about his appearance.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm just gonna say kudos to all three of these people. Kelly Price, Lupita, and Questlove. And if you're gonna date with confidence, you too have to be a pioneer in your area. If people aren't checking for you, then you may need to change the people you go around. You may need to change the people you are engaging, because there's somebody out there who wants you. But when you get around them, don't get around them like, I hope you like me. It's like either you like me or I'm moving on, period. Because confidence is key. Last point I wanted to discuss tonight is not limiting yourself to your type.
That's my type. That's my type.
So this was birthed. My uncle educates me a lot. I love my uncle. Shout out to you, Uncle Edward, or Uncle Eddie. If you ever hear me talking about my Uncle Eddie, I love that man. But shout out to my Uncle Eddie. When I first engaged him, by the way, we may have to do a whole show on the family you're born into and the family you choose. But when I first encountered my uncle, I had a type, and I thought everybody had a type. And he would fuss at me to high heaven and say, get that out of your head, because you are limiting yourself and missing out on so amazing people because you have in your head that this is my type. Now, this was not him saying that I don't have a preference, right? But sometimes what you need is not wrapped in the package necessarily of what you typically go for. And you have to be kind of fluid enough to move in that direction, you know, and you may experience the love that will literally blow your mind if you just free your mind and let the rest follow. You like how I did that?
I did. That was good. Yeah. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Like that's a very important part of the song. No, I love that you said that. You know, you got to free your mind because, again, how our minds are shaped is based off of all of these ideas that have been given to us. So when you're in that conscious period of just exploring, the more open you allow yourself to be, during that exploration phase, the better you actually get to learn yourself. So when you do get to that state of awareness and you have developed a preference, you might have a type. You might by that point. You know what? I've dated all these different types of people. I've been in all these different arenas, and I know for sure the types of people that vibe with me and who I vibe best with. But it's after you at least tried, right? If you only ever dated tall, dark, and handsome is what they're talking about. Or
right.
only dated people that speak one language, if you've only dated people that grew up in that city, then you're limiting your entire experience of your self-exploration. But also, you really don't get an opportunity to learn a lot about your life, about the world, and who you could possibly connect with.
Right.
If you would have asked me 5 years ago, even if I would be dating the person I'm dating today, I probably would have been like, no. But going through my own experiences, opening up my own worlds, having real talk with myself, right? It allowed me to actually be open to this person. And this person is so dope and has changed my world in such a short amount of time. And I would have missed out on it had I limited myself.
Right. And I like how you went to the superficial side, because I think that's where we limit ourselves a lot of times. He got to be 6 foot tall. He has to be this. He has to be that.
But tall, cussing you out
and whooping your ass, right? Or cheating on you, or just verbally abusive, or emotionally abusive. But he's 6 foot. He's dark. He's tall, dark, and handsome now.
Yeah.
Right. He definitely could knock him dead, literally and figuratively. So you've gotta free yourself from these, in my opinion, remedial things that limit us. Now, when I talk about a type, when I talk about a person I don't get along with now, I normally talk about personality traits.
Yeah.
I don't do well with a person, right? I don't do well with a person that has to please everybody. Like, if our relationship has to pass public scrutiny and all of that, then we're not going to last. Because sometimes when I'm with my person, I'm not always politically correct when I'm talking to my boo, right? And I need to know that, that's okay. When we're having a you and I moment, I'm not always, in public, I'm not always going to be that professional. Sometimes I want to sit down and have a drink with my boo. And I want you to twerk. I might, try to twerk, but we all know I can't really twerk that good, even though I love to twerk.
You better shake that jelly.
I'm just not gifted, in that area. But I may want, my person to twerk. I may want to dance with my person, and it might not be a two-step slow dance. Like, I might want to get it in real quick. And to be with a person that just has to have everything social media ready, or at all times. Now, I do understand you do have a public persona that, may accompany who you are. But if we can't never let that down, we're not going to work. That's not a type of person I could be with. But when we're talking about physical attributes, I have learned to just let it go and flow with it. And you may find yourself in a wonderful place called love.
And you know what's so interesting, Walter? Like something that, again, so we're going from consciousness to awareness. I was very clear that my appearance was better accepted in St. Louis, Missouri than it was in California.
Okay.
Moreno Valley, California was not the place for me to pull from, because I am not the standard of beauty in Moreno Valley, California. Right. So my chances of getting what I wanted out of a relationship was very slim. So let me move on to a place where they appreciate someone who looks like me, and I will have more people that are attracted to me. And a real body, not a body that has been surgically enhanced anymore. Okay, like
Right.
you know, they love the dimples in my legs. You know,
Right.
that you know, it's a different energy here that attracts to me, and so being realistic with that. And then the other part is, there are times when my girl is like, I can't believe those people didn't want to be with you. Like, you're so dope. I said, I need you to understand that not everybody got the same version of me that you are getting.
Period.
Right? And
Period.
that goes back to when you are dating people, that level of awareness. I know who's real and who's fake.
Okay.
I know who actually wants to be with me and who wants to be with me for the night. I am very clear on who is not willing to give to me what I am willing to give to them. And I'm not saying exactly the same things, but at the same level. And so what you give to people changes. So a lot of times it's not that someone may not be confident, it's you really not ready for that fire that they can actually give you.
I like. Ooh, I like it. All right.
That's
We are
good.
moving into the question of the night.
What you got, Walter?
Question of the night is yeah. Does one sexual experience at a younger age dictate your sexual preference or identity later in life?
Ooh, this is such a good, juicy question.
You know, I like the juices.
Oh, I love the juices. Okay. This is okay. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I want you to go first.
Okay. So I will say, I want to say yes.
Okay.
And I say yes because I think it has more to do with the first encounter that you have that actually made you feel alive and in your body and like you actually connected. My first experiences were with males, but my most memorable and most intrinsic moment was with a female. And so even later in life, when I started to just pursue men, I still felt like there was something there that wasn't quite being, like they weren't touching me real good in my shata. Like my shata wasn't being tended to, right? Yeah. And so it wasn't.
It does need tending.
Oh, it got to tend to the shata.
Yeah.
So when I started to engage with women, that shata started to wake up again. And it was like, oh, I missed this. This felt right. But then again, you know, had to go through that process of who am I? What now do I believe in? What's my family gonna say? You know, you're a young minister. What now does that mean? Right. So we had to go and filter through all of that.
Right.
And so thank God for the filter. Because now I feel so much like myself. And I'm with a woman.
Okay.
And I wouldn't change it for nobody.
You totally gave me a new perspective on this, but I'm going to 10 toes down and say no, it doesn't. But you gave me a new perspective. You definitely gave me a new perspective, but I'm going to 10 toes down and say no. You are finding
stubborn as hell.
If you are finding yourself when you're young, sometimes, you know, you experiment, and you may cross that line, but that doesn't mean that that's who you are at 40. Now, I do think that it does mean that you should yield some type of understanding to those who experimented and found out that that is who they are, you know. But I don't think that one homosexual encounter at 18 means that you are gay at 39. Oh, but I do have to I do have to agree with you though. Like if they're touching your shata and your shata has not been touched by the other gender, then you might want to do some examination. Yeah,
Get in there and
absolutely.
try it again.
Right. Come back and try again. But I think that I think that um that is another way of boxing people in.
Yeah.
When we say, okay, you did it once, this is who you are, period, point blank. But I think that we have to start allowing people to evolve and to grow.
Yeah.
That's my thought. Mm-hmm.
I like that you said that, Walter, and I wasn't expecting your perspective either. So it was good. It was good that you kept them toes on the ground. Okay.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you because there are a lot of times when people are just exploring just human nature, this curiosity,
right.
and they have to keep those parts of them a secret because they are pigeonholed to that identity. And you have some, they may have experimented with other women. That don't mean that now that y'all about to have, five get this one woman. She did the thing. She went through college. She had the thing in high school. Now she's moved on. She wants a man. She with you. Leave her alone.
Right.
It's the same thing for men. You may be more comfortable with males early on in your youth, and you feel like that's your space, and you are engaging with men sexually and seductively, and that's your comfort zone. And then you grow out of it at some point. You should be able to grow out of it. You should be able to tell your story. You should be able to sit now with your girlfriend who you love and who loves you and say, you know what? I was with men off and on for like 3 years, and now I'm not. And she says, for real? Okay, cool. Let me not call up all my girlfriends and tell them that you're gay and leave you. But let me understand sexuality. Let me understand personality. Let me understand the evolution of and sexuality.
Right. And also, I want to say that this is by no means are we condoning people who call themselves getting delivered and then want to turn around and bash. So that just ain't the case. When she said outgrow, the reason why some of y'all we ain't allowing y'all to say y'all outgrow is because you outgrow it while you in the pulpit. Then you growing in the other areas when you're not in the pulpit.
That's different.
And that is completely different. Right. We're talking about the evolution of a person. Well, tonight's conversation has definitely been intriguing. I feel like I have been enriched and definitely empowered. And that is the goal of this conversation, to share some of that with you all. Manaal, how can the people find you on social media, should they desire?
You can find me on Bay Windows on Instagram and on Bay Windows on YouTube. I'm working on the Facebook, y'all. Y'all know Facebook ain't that, it's a lot of work with Facebook. Give me a second. But you can find me on Facebook under Manaal Bay.
Absolutely. You can find me on all social media platforms at TheWaltBConnection. I can't wait to see you all next week for the next episode of the Walt B Connection. And don't forget to stay tuned to Pyro Media for the next show. I believe the next show is the Dante show today. Dante, my big bro, shout out to you. Yeah, God. And don't be scared. Get out here and date with some confidence. Take all these pointers and date with some confidence. Thank you so much. Kwame, go ahead and take us away.